Okay, this video is all about your new ritual, right? And what I mean by that is that there's a routine that all my clients have to follow, and it's one of the most key ingredients in fixing your dog's behavioral issues. And no one thinks about these things as an important integrated part in training, but I'm here to tell you right now that this is actually more important than, it's actually more important than anything else I've taught you. This is setting the tone for how you want Tusk to be in the backyard, on a walk, in the house, etc., etc., etc. When he wants to come out of his crate, he comes out like a bat out of hell, and he is hyperactive. He is squirrely, and in those moments, we've consistently discussed that he is not very good at taking direction or listening when he's that hyped up. So we have to come up with a new way of teaching this guy that going through crate doors, regular doorways, any entryway that gets him excited, car doors, you name it, he needs to relax and calm down and quit escalating and becoming so excited. If we can establish this, he is going to be calm everywhere else in the training session, right? Because you're basically saying, hey, instead of starting at a 10 of excitement, I want you to start more like a 2 or a 3, because that's more manageable. So that's the whole reasoning behind the madness, and you're going to think that this is very meticulous, but I'm just going to emphasize one more time that I do think that this is one of the most important parts of my training. And we call it the new ritual because anytime you go to start working with Tusk, he's going to be coming right out of his crate, which means you're going to be trying to set the tone right from this start, okay? So my first rule is that he has to sit before I'll open his crate door. And I don't ask him to. I'm not going to ask him to sit. He has to do it on his own. I don't ask dogs to do things if I don't have a tool to make it happen. And there's no tool on him right now. So he's going to learn that he doesn't get it to come out of his crate until he sits on his own. And that will resonate more with him because he's done it himself. Now, he knows this rule, and he's been here for over 2 weeks. And look at him. He's not sitting. So this is a dog that it's hard for him to calm down. This is one of his biggest issues, is he doesn't know how to be calm. There we go. So this is resistance because he doesn't want to calm down, not because he doesn't know the rule. It's because he's so hyped to get out of his crate. So what you need to do is just sit here in front of his crate and wait until he calms down. Everyone has to do this. Every single person in the family. This needs to be their new rule. Tusk, I'm not going to open this door until you sit. Now I'm going to go to unlatch the crate after he sits. And at any point in this process he breaks the sit, I'm going to close it back up and wait for him to sit again. I'm not going to move forward if he anticipates and lunges forward, okay? So he has to remain in his position in order to move forward, and I'm going to be the one to give him permission for that. All right, so then you're going to have a tool ready, which is going to be the leash unless you want to leave the e-collar on him, which I don't usually recommend. Some people do it with longer-haired dogs because it's a pain in the ass to get the e-collar on the dog. But we got to have a tool. That's why I want you to have the e-collar, because you got to have a tool on the dog if you want to influence their brain. You're going to be too inconsistent in repatterning good dog behavior if you don't have a tool to make sure you can follow through with what you're asking. So, that was a sidestep, but I'm going to invite him out, and I'm going to lasso his neck up as he comes out of his crate. Let's go, buddy. Oh, you're... Okay. And then I'm going to sit him. He's actually a lot calmer right now than he usually is. He's usually breathing so heavily and incapable of sitting, so I don't know what the heck the deal is this session. Good job. But what I do with the leash is I just hold up on the leash like this and say sit until he sits. It's a pressure release technique. I'm going to change angles here. Let's go. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, come. in because he's so squirrely and he's fidgety and he's wiggly. It's hard to put equipment on him, right? So I want you to think about me putting this e-collar on him as the same as grooming him or putting the vest on him or putting any other form of leash on him. If he is wigging out with excitement, you need to stop and calm him down before you move forward. Lots of patience in this training, lots of waiting. Not saying calm down, but waiting for calm is the key to this new ritual. So I'm going to go put this on him, and if at any point he starts to swirl around, I'm going to back off. Gosh, I need to make a new video. He's not usually this good. I'm usually having to do a lot more stopping and waiting. But wiggly hands create wiggly dogs. So if I go to put equipment on him and he starts swirling around, I don't want to fight him. I'm just basically teaching dogs that I don't move forward until I get what I want. And what I want is for you to be calm. Or what I want is for you to walk in heel. Or what I want is for you to pay attention to me instead of the human or the dog that you're worked up about, right? So it's a lot of the same patterning over and over and over again. If you're going to get in front of me on a walk, I'm going to stop. If you're going to try and burst through your crate, I'm going to stop and I'm going to close the door. If you're going to get all wiggly while I try to push your e-collar on, I'm going to stop and we're going to start over. And what that does, dogs learn through what they get, right? They learn through what they're rewarded by. So if I'm going to reward the dog by moving forward in any of those scenarios, they learn they don't have to comply. They still get what they want, because what they want is to move forward, right? So I got the e-collar on him. Now we're going to do door work. I've got the door right behind me. Stop. So the first thing I'm going to do is sit him. I like it when they're more squared off to the door, but this angle is awkward. And then what I want to do is I want to open the door and see what he does. Right? Now, if at your house you open the door and he bursts through it, we're setting the wrong tone. Because door open shouldn't mean go. You don't want dogs running through your front door without permission. And if your backyard is as crazy as you make it out to be, you don't want them rushing your backyard without permission either. You also don't want your dogs rushing through car doors without permission, right? So doors are a big deal. They represent excitement. They represent the access to the outside world. They usually represent walks or other fun adventures. So if we set the tone with excitement, we are going to have a less controlled dog. So door open doesn't mean go, and you need to sit here and be calm and relaxed. You can see I've emphasized calm a lot since we've been training. And he's doing great right now. I'm actually really proud of him. He's doing exceptionally well. Yes. But the reason why I'm going over all this, even though it might seem meticulous and maybe overwhelming because this is how your house operates, is so important because he struggles so much with being calm, and the hyperactivity is what gets him so out of control no one can have access to his brain. So if we don't set the tone for these kind of things and teach him a new norm, right? A norm is when he gets to the point where getting out of the crate, getting his equipment put on and going through a normal door isn't such a big deal anymore. We'll set the tone for him to have better responses towards stimulus once he gets outside. Because his brain isn't a level 10 of excitement, it's now, right now he's actually like 1, he's so mellow, which I don't see this, oh my gosh. I don't ever think you've ever done this. So there's my reasoning behind my madness. Door open doesn't mean go. Come here, sit. I like eye contact, I want to build a path drive. So I'm going to get eye contact, and then I'm going to say here, through the door. A lot of people want to do this. They want to go sit and put pressure on the dog and then say, okay, and then they want to be through the door first, right? This is a really common thing I see. Or they just let their dog go. They don't even ask for anything. You're being amazing. What I want is for you, I want everything to be a team. I want you guys to be a pack, and I want him to be unified with the handler. So it's going to be eye contact, and then I say here, and that means we're going to walk through the door together. Okay? Now, if he bursts through the door and pulls on me or I stop and pause, just like everything else I've taught you. I call him back to me, and I say here, and restart. So he learns he doesn't burst through the door, and he doesn't run in front of me, and he doesn't rush me, and he doesn't rush the door. He needs to calmly walk through it with me. So that's how I do it. Let's go. Now I'm going to change the angle again, because this door, excuse me, buddy, what are we going to do here? This door is to the outside, not just another room. So this door can create a little bit more excitement, okay? So one of the things that I can't really show you in this video is how I walk to the door. Because if the dog meets me at the door like this and looks back at me and says, come on, open the door, I want to go outside, open the door for me, then I can't set a very good tone or precedent for the session, because what I'm actually allowing the dog to do is boss me, okay? So back in the crate room, Tusk scratched at his crate. That's his way of saying, let me out, right? That doesn't mean he disagrees with the crate, doesn't mean he doesn't like his crate. He literally is saying, let me out. If a dog goes to a door, any dog, any breed, any size, goes to a door and does this, let me out, let me out. They're bossing you. And if we can allow our dogs to boss us over something as simple as a door, how are we going to stop them from the sight of a dog? We have to have control over the basics of our home in order to have control over our dog. So, he has to walk in a here, which you say heel, I say here, he won't know the difference, say what you need to say, but he needs to be in that position with you to the door. And if he runs to the door, I'm going to call him back, Tusk, come, here, and restart. Because I want him to learn, you're a team, there's no bossiness going on, we're going to walk to the door together, sit, open the door, what is he going to do? Right? This is beautiful. Because door open doesn't mean go. Door open doesn't mean go. Now I want to make one more point. I'm gonna set him up for failure here, and I gotta feel bad for you because you're not doing anything wrong. You're being a very nice boy. But let's just say this was going out the door, like you opened it and he shot out, right? I'm gonna call him back. Tusk, come. Good job, buddy. Here. Sit. And start over again. Okay? So, I'm always restarting. And by the way, I don't care if they make a mistake. Door open, long leash. I really want to see what choice you're going to make here, buddy. What choice are you going to make? Because if I can be really clear in the choice he makes, it'll resonate more with him. He made the choice, great job, bud. If we're constantly short leashing him or being concerned about him making a mistake, he won't learn. So we say, can you make this choice on your own? If he makes the mistake, I restart the whole process and test him again. Can you make this choice on your own? Right? This is part of rehabilitating a brain. So, you're so awesome. If he were to break his sit, he just broke his sit, but he didn't shoot out the door, right? He just kind of broke his sit. I'm going to do a 360. Let's go. And restart him. Sit. So at doorways, I don't just re-sit them. I either recall them and sit them, or do a real quick let's go away from the door and sit them. But because I'm always wanting to start the process over if they make a mistake. If I just resit them, especially if they're edging forward at all, they don't learn anything because they're still getting away with the anticipation. They're just being resat. If I want to de-incentivize a behavior, I actually want them to have to move away from their excitement or the threshold that's making them excited and start over again so I can set the right tone And the resitting, in my experience, doesn't discourage them from the unwanted behavior. Let's go. Huh? So you're always going to be moving him back away from his mistakes and kind of starting over. It's kind of like, Tusk, hey, he's freaking out because my employee just went through the garage door. Sit. He's still got that like, oh my God, is that a stranger? Even though he's not barking anymore about it. So it's like when he sees a dog, if he's going to try to make the mistake and go towards the dog, I'm going to turn him around and restart him. Same thing with the door, right? I don't want this dog moving forward without permission, so I'm going to move him backwards and restart him to show him how to not move forward. All right, then I'm going to wait for eye contact. Here, we go through the door together. So this is going to be your new ritual. Please feel free to ask me any questions about the process. Tusk is doing really well. I don't actually normally see him this compliant in like the crate and the gearing him up with equipment and the doorways. Like I usually get a little bit more excitement. So this wasn't as productive of a video as I hoped because he did perfect. But at least you can see the potential and what you can create with this guy. And this is so important because it's setting the tone and it's teaching him how to be calm. You're teaching him how to self-soothe. So patience is a virtue in this process, and I'm going to encourage every single one of you to try to get into this new ritual. Now, once you go outside, he needs to potty, so you'll release him to go potty, do his business, and then at that point, he's going to start going under a command again for a while until we can get some of these unwanted behaviors out of his system. He needs to be kind of part of the pack, under command all the time for a while, which is going to be hard on you guys because you have a busy life, but it'll get him cured faster and you'll be much more pleased with the outcome if you can try to keep that mentality for several more weeks until we kind of tweeze out some of these real big issues that you're facing. And then we back off a lot on the under the command all the time. We back off a lot on that. Once the dog gets dialed on their bigger issues. So this is going to be a process, you guys. You have a lot of changes to make. I know Tusk is ready for those changes. He wants to feel better. So hopefully this was helpful in kind of giving you guys a new picture for how things are going to start to look at home. I know this is just a piece of the puzzle. There's a lot more to it than just this. But I wanted you to see this because setting the tone is, and like I said probably 10 times in this video, the most important part of my training process. So it is going to be, in my opinion, a requirement if you want this guy to succeed. All right, thank you.